Ooh, yeah. Okay, my friends, here it is. The Saturday morning live stream at the Garden Like a Viking headquarters. Zone 5/6, Northern Indiana. And it is a beautiful sunny day today, guys. Really nice. It's been nice the past couple of days, so that's good. But it's going to get cool again, so I'm looking forward to that, actually. We planted peppers yesterday. Okay, what did I just say? What was the sound check, guys? Let me know the sound check. So, yes, seed starting is now underway. And we have, let's see here. We've got some things from you guys. You guys sent in the mail to the P.O. box. Thank you so much. Let me see here. Meyer Lemons, you're one of them. Thank you very much, my friend, for the spice and the contribution. I really appreciate that. So thoughtful, you guys, because a lot of you guys want to contribute through like the PayPal or the Venmo or the CashApp link, which is wonderful. Thank you very much. It all goes to good use. But then some of you are old school. You want to send a raven. And so that is the P.O. box method. And so I've receiving stuff from you guys all the time now. So it's really nice. Look at this handwriting. How beautiful is that handwriting? Someone has taken a class on handwriting because that is beautiful. Okay, thank you. Okay, good. Vanessa, thank you. Okay, good. So the sound check is working. Sounds good. And then also another person sent me, Jason, sent me some pepper seeds, which is fantastic. 3 different kinds. Now, I have to admit, this kind I'm already growing, my friend, one step ahead of you. Thank you very much for sending this to me. I will still put them to good use. Don't worry. Because they only give you like 10 seeds in these packets. 10. That's it. But then he sent me these 2 kinds, and they're obviously the remainder of his seeds, which is perfectly fine. And I'm very excited to grow this one in particular. Both of them, but this one in particular. This one is the classic, like, Hungarian paprika. So we're going to see. Last year I grew Ivarskis for the Hungarian paprika, and it turns out really good. But there's 0 spice whatsoever to the Ivarskis. I mean, 0. So, I mean, they're sweet, super sweet. So this is going to be maybe like a very mild kind of spice. So we'll see. I'm looking forward to it. Just in the nick of time, because I'm going to start them today. I'm going to start these as well. Jimmy Nardello Italian peppers. Guys, if anyone has experience with these, let me know. Let me know what your experience is with these. The Jimmy Nardello or the Lutschauer paprika. Yes? Okay, guys. John Jude, good to see you here, my friend. Good to see everybody here. And let's see, there was a tip up here from my dear friend, Just Me. Who are you? Yes, $10. Thank you, my friend. Says, out here in the garden, carrots, parsnips, turnips, and beets are sprouting. Yes. And if you guys follow my Instagram account, I do things, I put up stories. You know, the Instagram is more for like updates and stuff like that. More like a kind of more personal stuff. You know, just little things of what I'm doing. And you will see that we did the board method with the parsnips and the turnips and the beets and the carrots. It's very good. It really helps to get them sprouted. And then as soon as they sprout, we just fold them boards over, fold each one over like that. And it's going to help to block out the weeds and shade out the soil, everything. But you have to keep an eye on it. When you're using the board method to sprout, you have to keep an eye on it. You can't just get distracted for a couple days and then they're all leggy and no, you have to keep looking at it. And as soon as you really see it sprout, then you got to take the board off. You're going to have great success. So Masabi Gal says, the Nardello pepper grew beautifully for me last year. Tasty and sweet without heat. Oh, there's no heat in it. Huh. Okay. Nice. Let's see. Turing is learning. Growing Jimmy Nardello for the first time this year. Okay, well, let us know how your experience goes. You can let us know in the Discord chat or in the comments of these videos. If you guys are watching this after the fact, just go ahead and comment and read through the comments, read through the live chat. There's so much good knowledge and experience shared, not just from me, of course, but from you guys. And so make your voice heard. That's what being part of the tribe is all about. Let's see here. Ooh, that guy Chris says, Baker Creek pimento peppers turned out great. Would highly recommend. Yes, I didn't know until like the past couple of years that the pimento is not just a term for the center of the olive. That's what I thought it was. But I know now it's a type of pepper. So, Tree Rogi says, I just got slips on potato in medium and getting roots in the ones in water. Yes, the ones in the soil will sprout faster. The soil method is almost twice as fast as the jar method. The jar method is still really good though. But me personally, I just do the soil method now. Whoa, that was way hotter than I thought. That was not pleasurable. Let's let that cool down a little bit. Whoa. Blazing, scalding hot. Okay. Well, hello, Claire. Good to see you here. Mick Hegarty, what's up, my friend? And yes, you got exciting things happening in your life. Moving to a new plot of land with some space to be growing stuff. He says, good morning, tribe. I'll be in and out today. Moving as much as possible to a storage unit. New acreage isn't ready to move into yet, so we'll be staying in temporary housing for the next couple weeks. Exciting. That's what that is. Exciting. Because the land is coming for you. And you are going to be able to plant the important things first. Immediately get fruit trees established. Fruit trees and shrubs, anything that is cold hardy to your area, get it established. That is the number one thing you want to do when you go. And then you want to start getting your soil fertility in line. Either covering it with the cover crops, planting cover crops in areas where you think that you will be planting in the future, or just to have the cover crop, because you're nourishing the life in the soil. Don't mow as little area as possible. As little area as necessary, you want to keep mowed lawn, because that's really the worst possible thing for the ecosystem, the environment. Nature never has something so absurd. Sorry, Big Wes. This is my opinion and experience. I know you have a different opinion. But plant cover crops, plant flowers, plant wildflowers, pollinator gardens, all that kind of stuff. That's what nature does. So, yes. Bet You says, hi everyone, new here and really want to try gardening but don't know how to start. Yes, okay. In a crash course in just 1 minute, then you want to start by determining how much area do you have. Are you on a balcony? Do you have like a back patio, or do you have a backyard, or do you have a bunch of open land? Then you'll determine whether or not you will go in containers or into the ground. And there's several factors involved in that, but it's not very complicated. And then after you determine that, you want to see where your lighting is. You have to look at the sunlight. And so wherever the maximum amount of sunlight is, you want to put those particular crops there. And I've made videos explaining that. Then you want to put your shade kind of crops in the shaded areas. Then you want to determine what you want to grow in terms of what am I going to eat? Yeah? Like if you know that you don't like tomatoes, don't be planting tomatoes. But if you want to grow what you think you're going to consume. So watch the video I made about gardening in a limited space. That's also good for beginners. To define the purpose of your garden. This is very important. Define the purpose of your garden. So do I want a salsa garden? Do I want to have fresh salsa all summer long? Okay, then in that case, I'm going to plant all the particular things required for salsa. Jalapeno peppers, a couple different kinds of tomatoes. We'll have some onions and cilantro, that kind of thing. We'll keep it all focused so that we can use it all. Instead of having just a couple of peas over here and then maybe like a couple of things of lettuce and you eat a couple of things. You would be shocked how many people I talk to, really, when I get down to it, that don't really consume a lot from their garden because they don't have it organized properly. They're just growing. They love growing the stuff, but a lot of it goes to waste, or they just don't know how to consume it because they're not used to cooking like that. So you want to define the purpose. Likewise, do you want to make fresh kimchi? Yes, so delicious. Then you can grow daikon radish, napa cabbage, and ginger and the green onions and garlic. Things like that. So, Nancy, hello, my friend, says blessings from Chattanooga. Question: I use the county water. Will that water source kill off all the JMS and ferments that I'm adding to my garden? Many thanks. Happy growing. So if that's all that you have available, that is acceptable to use. Definitely for the ferments. The ferments are not going to be a problem. Like the JDOM liquid fertilizers, any of the anaerobic ferments, which you guys should all know the difference by now because the video I just released explains exactly, so that I can just use the term tea or extract or ferment and you'll be able to understand the difference of what I'm talking about. So any of the ferments, it's not going to matter if you're using that water really, but any of the microbial solutions, the teas or the extracts, yes, you want to let it sit out. You want to let it sit out, preferably with a bubbler. If you already have a bubbler, even though I haven't made the video yet about, if you have a bubbler, let it bubble for 24 hours. That will ensure that a lot of that is evaporated. All right. Now I know that there's the new introduction. So chlorine is a gas, and it will evaporate readily, and that's what they put in the water to kill the microorganisms. But they've since started adding something called chloramine, as if we needed that, But chloramine is a form of it that doesn't evaporate, and so it kind of stays stuck in the water. So it's all just bad. It's not good, but it's also not detrimental that much. So you can use that even for microbial solutions after you let it sit out for 24 hours. Don't worry. But if you want to make sure, get some kind of filter. Any kind of filter can work, or capture the rainwater. Capture the rainwater. Yes, that's what you want to be doing. Rune Master, hello my friend, says I've typically found what I grow, I use. I like to improvise and make up my own recipes. Yes. Love all of Nate's recipes though. Yes. Because that's basically what it all came from. That's what it all came from is trial and error, experimentation. Ooh, that's a good tip. Mom Computer says, Nancy, you can look up Find a Spring for water in your area if you want. That would be the best. Guys, if you can get spring water, real spring water, that's the best. Definitely. Because that's got the minerals of the earth. That's the best to use. Sarah Richardson says, hey Nate, a couple of microbial solutions didn't make the grade. Can I still pour the suboptimal onto the beds and start afresh? Still hot. Yes, you can. Yes. If the microbial solution did not work, which is common in the beginning until you really understand how to make them, then you can just pour it onto the bed, so long as there's no plants in the ground. You can just pour it onto the bed, pour it into the compost pile. Yes, and it will nourish the soil. Yes. So, John Saldana, hello my friend, says, hey there Nate, Sarah and John here. Hi from Colombia, working on our JMS, trying to capture rainwater. Yes, guys, I looked at Nancy DeWalt, $20 through CashApp, says, thanks for the education. Thank you very much, my friend. I appreciate the tip. That's a great way to do it. And that's why I keep the phone right here while I'm doing this. So thank you, Nancy. I appreciate that. And guys, when I looked at, because me and John have had some consultations, I can be available for one-on-one consultations through like a Zoom or Google Meet if you need to get a plan for your garden for your year. I can be available in 1 hour increments, 1 hour, hour and a half, something like that. But I looked up his weather because everywhere that I talk to people, I like to look up their weather. And guys, look at this. Okay, look at that. Look at how temperate that is. It's unbelievable. I've never really seen something so, I mean, lows of 48, high 73, 49, 72, 48, 72. I mean, it changes by like 1 or 2 degrees every day. And he is, the sun rises at 6:07 or at 6:01 a.m. and sets at 6:07 p.m. So he's only like 6 minutes off the equator. I mean, it's just incredible. So that is like as temperate as it can get. You know what's going to thrive there is potatoes. That is the homeland of potatoes. That's where they come from, basically. South America in the mountainous regions. So let us see here. So is there, Matt Farms says, is there a way to safely use rainwater from a house roof that has asphalt shingles? Right. So you, for the garden, yes, you want to have a holding tank though. You know, so my rain barrel setup, which I might finally do a video on that this year. My rain barrel setup in the first one is like a trap, you know, and then you can arrange it a couple of different ways. So that the overflow goes into the new barrel, or you can have them connect to each other at the base of the barrels, but leave it, you know, a good 6, 8, 10 inches off the bottom of the barrel. And in that first barrel, you're going to catch all that sediment. That first barrel is going to have a bunch of sediment at the bottom. The second one that you will draw from then will be much more clean. Now, that being said, you don't drink that, of course. You would want to pass that through the like a Berkey filter or a water drop filter, you know, the ceramic gravity-fed filters. You would want to pass it through that first, which I might do the video on how to make your own ceramic filter because it's working really good. John Saldana says, we are the Idaho of South America. Yeah. We are so grateful for your consultation. Nice. I'm glad that it's working for you guys. And the thing is, guys, when you're just starting out, there's so many questions. There's so much that you don't know. And it's like, can be very overwhelming. So it's like, well, but then how about the microbial solutions and fertilizers and the life in the soil and what plants do I plant when and how do I tend to them and all that stuff. So the consultation definitely helps to organize all of those thoughts and to get a plan of action. So that's important. Now, at the same time, though, once you have that plan established, you understand that you will learn so much just by doing it. By implementing the plan like that we talked about, or the plan that you get from any of my videos, implement that and then observe. Observe, and just understand that there's going to be trials and errors. It's not going to be perfect the first time because there is a lot to know. But the best possible way is by doing it and experiencing, and you will feel the failures, which aren't really failures. You will feel that, and you'll say, okay, so next year we're not going to do that, or we're going to do it different, and you will fine tune it. Now, these videos, though, on this channel or the consultation or whatever it is, will dramatically shorten that learning curve by several years, in fact. Definitely the videos. So make sure that you watch everything, guys, because there's tons of information in all the videos here. Let's see. Crystal Jones says, I'm sure he did. There are so many comments. Yes, let's see here. Let's see. Oh, was it a, let's see here. Let's see. Miss what? Outsider Attila. Yes. Thank you. 55 what? TRY, where are you at? Where are you from? Thank you for the tip, my friend. And thank you for speaking up. Because, yes, I would have missed that one. So it says, yo, Viking, I've started tilling my soil by hand. How deep should I till? 10 to 15 centimeters, 45 inches. Also, worms pop up. Does it mean the soil is good? Well, okay. So 4 to 5 inches is okay. Get down as deeply as you can. And it depends. It depends what kind of soil you have. If it's like this Indiana clay soil that's been stripped of all its topsoil over the past couple of 100 years, then you're going to want to break it up real nice. You're going to want to break it up pretty deep. Try to add some things like biochar. Yes. Try to add some organic matter, compost, manures. Any of those kind of things is really going to help. And so it really depends what you're working with. And I would have to see the soil to know if it's good. But worms are always a good sign. So yes. Kevin M says, "Hey Nate, question. When applying full strength JDOM FPJ, you mean JLF? Because FPJ is fermented plant juice in Korean natural farming, which we will soon have a video about. When applying full strength JDOM to my empty garden bed," he means JMS, "how close can I get to my garlic that is already planted along the perimeter of the garden?" Just stay out of the root zone. Because when we're making full strength JDOM microbial solution, and we're applying it before, the 5 times before, then it's the salinity is one of the things, and the concentration of microorganisms. That's why we don't want to get it there. That's why we don't want to get it there too close to the roots. And so, stay a good foot away from it, I would say. Yeah, definitely. But you also don't have to get too close to them, and you also don't have to do it full strength. So you can do it diluted 20 times and just water everything. Just water everything. You can even water the garlic, all of it. So, yeah. Lisa T, $2. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate the tip. Says, do you orient cattle panel tunnel north-south or east-west? It depends. It can depend on what you're growing and what you have around it or behind it. But I have mine at the back of this garden, and it is going east-west. Yes, because it's at the very back of the garden. Now, for the most part, you want the east-west because you want it to for the sun to go like this and for it to get all the stuff. Because if it's north-south, then the sun's going to be going here, and the stuff on the north side is going to be completely shaded out the whole time, and you're going to end up with a lopsided cattle panel that will be everything will be growing towards the south. Is how that would work. If you had the cattle panel like this, it would just be super abundant here, and there'd be nothing in the back for the most part. So you want it to east-west. Let's see here. Okay, Jay Dixon. Oh, good to see you here, my friend. Yes, you guys remember Jay from the podcast we did last week on the Urban Gardener channel, which was awesome. Yes, had a great conversation with him. And it's always good to talk with somebody that is super passionate about the same thing you're passionate about. So if you guys haven't watched that broadcast already, you can go back. It was the one we did last week, and you can watch that. All right. And thank you guys again for all coming over there and being very active in the chat with that. It's so much better when, your friends are there in the chat and the tribe is like active, giving their opinions, their experience, all of that kind of stuff. So thank you again. That was fantastic. Yeah, because we're going to be on a couple of other podcasts as well. I haven't responded to this one guy yet, but I will accept the offer, definitely. He's got a small channel, but it doesn't matter. I'm totally about supporting that. And so he wants to interview us again. And so we're going to do that. And I want you guys again to storm the castle of the podcast. All right. That's what we need to do because it's important to show support. And we want to encourage the people doing it to continue doing it because it's such a good thing. So we do that with our support. Now, Big Wheel Dog, what's up, my friend? Says, Nate, I did as you suggested. I do, and got my potatoes planted in bags on my surplus of leaves. I used an old kiddie pool to contain the leaves. Ooh, that's a good idea. Yeah, old kiddie pool. That's a great idea. Now, the only other thing is to make sure that the bags are, you take that rebar, are they plastic bags? Because if they're plastic bags, you want to make sure that rebar pokes all the way through so that them roots, and then you don't move the bags. That's very important. Remember that. You don't move the bags. And so then the roots will grow down and they'll absorb that stuff. So it's very good to do. The kiddie pool is a great idea. Now, the only thing is that it might hold on to a lot of water. So you want to make sure that the leaves are really packed in there deep so that the bags aren't submerged. If it rains real heavy and it submerges a quarter of the bag in water, that's not going to be good. Okay, you cut holes in the bottom of the bags. Good. But I don't know if I said to actually plant the potatoes yet, though. Did I? Because potatoes are, if you did already, then we'll see. We have a super warm season. But no, I wouldn't have said to plant them yet, though, because potatoes are not frost hardy. So if the foliage gets bit by frost, it'll die. The plant doesn't die. It'll grow back, though, but it has to restart its energy, And they can only do that like once, because the potato is a storehouse of solar energy, and it has to use that stored solar energy to poke up through the soil. But if it has to do that and then die and then do it again, it's like, oh man, so much energy. Think of how much energy that would require, from the potato. When you bury the potato, just a chitted potato, when you bury that into the soil, say it's under 6 inches of soil or 8 inches of soil, think of how much energy that has to take in order to create a sprout to push up through that and then become a plant. Where do the molecules come from? That is in there. Obviously they come from the potato, but that's just, when you sit and observe it, it's mind blowing. The supreme intelligence that is there, the life that is there, it just defies comprehension. You just have to look and be silent and feel it. And it grows up through that, and then boom, and then it reaches towards the sun and it starts capturing the sunlight, and then the whole process is solar powered, and boom, it all starts combining all the elements and puts down the roots and everything, and then it starts combining the elements and creating duplicates of itself. When you describe it, the technology like that, it's just so far beyond anything that the human thinks that we can do, and it's incredible. The technology involved in a potato, if you look deeply. So, Cass says, my peas are up in Pennsylvania. Yeah, I'm about to plant mine probably tomorrow. So, Itomar Toribo says, hello, Nate. When will you plant your potatoes? This year probably no more than like last week of April, first week of May, because they'll take roughly 2 weeks to sprout up, and I do not want them to get hit by that frost. I've tried to do it early too many times, thinking, I want to do it early, but I don't. You don't really, because you get hit with that frost and then all that progress is gone. But at the same time, the way that I do my potatoes is I actually will plant a run of Yukon Golds as early as possible, and those will finish in 90 days, and then that will be like July, give or take sometime, the heat of summer, so I can harvest those and eat some of those. But many years I've just left them in the ground. You just leave them in the ground as long as possible. But I will also do a late June planting, after the garlic comes up in early July. After the garlic, you could put potatoes, and I have done this, put a fast maturing, a short season, an early season potato in that spot, and you will still get a harvest. So we can plant potatoes here, fast growing potatoes like Yukon Golds or the Red Norlands or any of the red potatoes are real fast. We can plant those still in July and then just leave them in the ground until the frost comes. Because remember this, here's the key to storing potatoes, guys. Remember that only once you remove them from the ground does the clock start ticking as far as when they're going to break dormancy or go bad. So even if you plant them, early and they're totally done by August 1st and the vines die back, just leave them in the ground. Leave them. They're just storing there perfectly Perfectly secure. The clock has not even started ticking until you disturb them and them roots get cut off and stuff, and then the clock starts ticking. So you want to wait as long as possible to harvest your potatoes. That will ensure that they are still fresh. I've still got Yukon Golds in the basement, still got German Butterballs in the basement, and many of them just recently in the past week or two have really started to sprout. But man, I mean, we're in March, middle of March. So they've lasted all winter. Although all I've got left really is the real tiny ones because I love eating potatoes. Now there was one more question that I did want to answer. I saw a question here I wanted to answer. John Jude, that's a good idea. I no longer use boards for tiny seeds, but I use a heavy felt. It lets rain onto the seeds, just does better. But yes, but doesn't it try to grow through the seed, the felt though? That would be my only concern. Tim Davis says, hey Nate, is there a certain time of year that is better to gather leaf mold? Not necessarily, no. It is all there. It is all there all the time. And so you can gather at any time. But now is the more pleasurable time to do it. But that leads me to one question that I got, not really a question, but like a statement on one of the videos. So on one of my videos, somebody tried to give me some advice, which is great, fine. But and I get this a lot. I hear this kind of thing a lot. So even if it's not exactly what this person means, I'm using it as an example. This person says, if you inoculate the charcoal, the biochar, with mycorrhiza and small amounts of fertilizer like compost tea, he says, to avoid the charcoal sucking up fertilizers, the mycorrhiza will store the nitrogen fixated by the clover and then eventually decompose cover crops. So they're saying that if you inoculate biochar with mycorrhizal, then the mycorrhizal is going to store the nitrogen fixed by the clover and all of this. Now, I mean, I can't fully understand that question or that comment, but it leads me into an example of what I get a lot. A lot of people think that you can inoculate stuff with mycorrhizal fungi and it's going to grow like a mushroom or it's going to grow like a mold. And it doesn't work that way. The only thing that can grow mycorrhizal fungi is a living root. That's it. So you cannot make a tea that multiplies mycorrhizal fungi. You cannot make anything else. It is a relationship formed only with the root because nothing can grow without food. And so the only food for the mycorrhizal is this forms of exudates and certain types of sugars. And so the way to do that, and so this was very common. When I was in Northern California, I used to see, we used to spend thousands of dollars on nutrients for these crops. And that's over the years, that's how I learned. So much of it is just marketing. It's a joke. So much. I would say 90% of it is marketing. Not that it's totally useless. I would say 50% of it's totally useless. But most of it is just marketing. All right. Like we used to get these huge jugs, and I always use this example. We always used to get these huge jugs of what was called bud candy. Has a picture of a kid with licking a lollipop or something like that on the front. And these jugs, they were like $300. Okay. For it was a 2.5 gallon or maybe a 5 gallon. And we would need one of those every week or multiple ones of those every week. And so we just buy it, and we thousands of dollars in nutrients. And then over the years, I come to the understanding that this bud candy that we're paying $300 for, I look at the ingredients and it's 1% magnesium sulfate and 99 point something percent water. And I'm looking at it, I'm going, what? And so I do more research and stuff, and then all the dots start connecting. Magnesium sulfate is another name for Epsom salt. And it's just Epsom salt. And so then it was like all these dots started connecting, and I started looking at all these different fertilizers and just seeing that it's all a marketing gimmick. And they're just charging astronomical prices for this stuff, man. And at this time, those growers didn't care because there was like unlimited money at the time. There's not anymore. But so that's how I learned all this stuff, guys. And microorganism inoculants and all that stuff, the great white and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, okay. That can be good. Super expensive for those mycorrhizal fungi inoculants and all of that. But at the same time, if you're doing it indoors, it's a whole different ballgame. You need that sterilized stuff. But if we're doing it outdoors, one handful of high quality leaf mold will have all of the mycorrhizal spores that you will possibly ever need. So you don't have to purchase expensive inoculants and purchase expensive stuff like that, because the leaf mold has already got everything that you need. I know it seems mind-blowingly simple, but it is that way. Nature has already taken care of all of that. So you don't need to get additional microorganisms, or worry about the mycorrhizal fungi, because you can only inoculate the soil with the spores, and it's all mostly there anyways. But if it's depleted soil or farmland, definitely if it's been farmland for many years, it's going to be very depleted because the soil has been killed. So we want to inoculate it with the JMS or the aerated compost teas. But definitely the JMS is a wonderful to inoculate the soil with the mycorrhizal fungi. Those 5 applications before planting, that is really beneficial. And so that's all that you're going to need. We don't need to, and then let the spores will break dormancy once they sense all the conditions are right. Here's that intelligence again. That's mind blowing. The spores will just stay dormant for years and years and years and years until the conditions become right. And then they sense, oh, wait, okay, activate. And then it says there's a root nearby. Boom. And so it starts getting fed these sugars, these exudates. And so then it will go to town and start activating, all powered by the sun. It's just phenomenal. So, okay, that is, yes. Wendy Crane says, I've learned lots about natural farming from people like Dragonfly, Earth Medicine, Chris Trump, etc., who focus on cannabis, but very grateful for someone like Nate who focuses on food. Yes. But remember, as you all know, that was my training ground for many years in Northern California. And it's because that community of growers, it's unlike any other community of growers. The cutting edge stuff and all the natural farming stuff, really, it's the epicenter. The canna growers are serious about it, very serious about it. It's different than just growing vegetables. It's just totally different. You form a spiritual relationship with these plants, in a way. That's all out of my life now, but all the knowledge is still here. So let me see if you guys are asking questions during that rant. So Mississippi Soldier, $2. Thank you, my friend. Says ratio for 1 gallon JMS, JLS. Ratio of what? Water to these things. So the JMS, you want to dilute, if plants are in the ground, you want to dilute it 20 times. So if you have a 20-gallon container, roughly add a gallon or so of the JMS. If there's no plants in the ground, you can go 10 times, 5 times, or straight. You can go pure. So that is really good. Yeah. JLF, it depends. It depends on how strong the one is. Start at about 50 to 1. So if you got a 55-gallon drum you're watering the garden with, start with a gallon of the JLF. But you can go, and I have gone as high as 3 gallons of certain ones. Once I know that the crops, you have to know what crops can take it. If it's like watermelons or something, hungry, or squash, you can do 3 gallons in the 55-gallon drum of the chicken manure fertilizer. That's what we did at the Viking plot out in the country, and we got tons of watermelons. We're still drinking frozen watermelon juice. It is so delicious. So Pam says, Nate, you've made it simple. Do what nature does. So grateful for all you have shared with us. I really appreciate you. Thank you, my friend. I definitely appreciate your continued enthusiasm across all the channels. Pam is a part of the Thrive Like a Viking Tribe as well, where every Monday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time, we do a Thrive Live, which starts with a 10-minute guided meditation, and then we talk about a number of different things, all conducive to thriving in your life. Growing your own food and nurturing the land, that is a part of it, but it's actually much more comprehensive than that, to truly feel like you are just thriving in life. Yeah, so you guys talking about ads? I know. Busy Girl says that's something new YouTube started inserting during live chats. I know, it's crazy. They're taking more and more control away from us as far as what ads and when. But Donald says, are you going to make a video on prep and plant blueberry plants? This year I will not, because I actually don't have a lot of experience yet on blueberries, although this will be the first year that we are starting the blueberry plot. So yeah, I will use my acquired knowledge and just feel what feels like it's going to work right, and prepare the soil. And the philosophy is the same. You treat the soil the same, no matter what. I know people say, oh, blueberries are acidic. We might do a couple of things to sort of help to acidify the soil, but the number one thing is to make sure that the microorganisms are present so that the roots of the plant can create the acidity that they need, meaning adjust the pH around the rhizosphere, the area directly around the rhizosphere. So that is what adjusting the pH of the soil is, a modern industrial agriculture concept. It's the same like NP and K. Breaking things down into NP and K is imprinted in our minds from the industrial ag complex. So it doesn't matter what the pH of the soil is over here if the root is over here. Even if it doesn't matter. It only matters where it's in contact with the soil. And the plant, the vast intelligence of the plant, knows how to manipulate the microorganisms in order to produce the right pH for itself. So we don't really worry that much about pH. And I'm going to take that to the bank, and I'm going to make sure, and I'm going to do it even with blueberries, because it's been true with every other crop I've ever grown, even ones that are supposed to have acidic soil, or, oh, this plant likes that pH, or this plant likes that pH exactly. Guys, I spent years adjusting pH and testing every little pH, and then I come to the understanding it doesn't really matter. pH matters, yes, but the intelligence of the plant can take care of that for you so long as the microorganisms are present. Yes? So, yeah, that is what we're doing with that, Don. But that is why I will make a video next year maybe, or the year after, about blueberries, because I need to have, I can't plant blueberries the first year and make a video acting like I know what I'm talking about. I kind of do, but I don't yet. So that video will probably be like the season after next. Ooh, yeah. Methydicus albriticus says, just got YouTube Premium last week and life is bliss without ads. Won't ever go back. Isn't that the truth? Guys, once I got YouTube Premium, it was like going back to 2009. It was like, there's never any ads. There's never any ads. And you can just listen to music, frequency music all day long, and it doesn't like, oh man, the ads are the worst possible thing for your mind. They fracture your attention span. Sitting there watching something or listening to something peaceful or meditating, and all of a sudden, boom, come down to Grody Automotive and buy 4 tires and blah, 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 blah. Do it now. And the people in the advertisements, they're all stressed out and they're trying to, they're so aggressive. They're trying to like, assault you. You feel assaulted. I don't have television. I don't have a television. I don't have any. So I have YouTube Premium and stuff. So I'm never exposed to ads. I don't listen to the radio. So when I go to places where there's advertisements, I just feel assaulted. Like, oh, they're so aggressive. Ooh, Mr. Super Chat. Is that right? Okay. Thank you. Oh, yes. Alex Forage, $10. Thank you, my friend, for the tip. Hi, Nate. I chopped up my cover crop and dropped it and covered it with compost and covered that with black plastic. Nice. It's okay that I did it like that, isn't it? Thank you. Yes, definitely. Now, how long until you're going to plant? So that is good. That's really good. So you have a cover crop, chop it down, and you probably mowed it down, that would help it all break down a lot faster, definitely. If you mowed it down and then left it on top, then put the compost and then put the black plastic on top. Is that what we did? I think that's what you said. Yeah, covered it with compost, then covered that with black plastic. It's okay that I did it like that? Yes, because that will all break down. So keep that plastic on there for quite some time though. So if you have at least 2 weeks, that's going to be the best. If it's a nitrogen-rich, a really nitrogen-rich cover crop, like a crimson clover or any of the clovers, then it's going to break down fast. And putting that plastic on it is key, because that is going to help to maintain the even moisture that the decomposition needs. And it's going to help to limit the evaporative effect of the nitrogen, and the compost doesn't want to be exposed. The worst thing you can do for compost, guys, is expose it to ultraviolet light. It does not, it's just, oh no, what are you doing to us? And so they just cringe. All the microorganisms just, oh God, they don't like it. So don't take it from your nice, dark, moist compost pile and put it on top of the soil and then just leave it. That's the worst thing you can do. And all the weed seeds are going to sprout that are in your compost. So you want to keep it covered. Plastic works wonderful. Also, organic mulches. And then put the leaves on top of all that. So that person could have, instead of using the plastic, could have put a thick layer of leaves on top, deciduous leaves. Could have put a thick layer of grass clippings on top, a thick layer of straw on top, as a mulch. That will all work really well. ZZ Trop says, I have an unhealthy amount of little millipedes, roly-polies, and earwigs. What can I do? Guys, what can he do? What can he do? Do you have experience with this kind of stuff? Because I have never got to the point where I felt like that needed addressed, like that needed controlled. If I was going to do it, then I would probably use JDOM sulfur and the wetting agent. And maybe even the ultimate slug solution, although not really, because none of those are soft-bodied. So I would use the sulfur and the wetting agent. And one of the pesticides, maybe the artichoke, the Jerusalem artichoke, or the garlic, something like that. I would try those things if I felt like it was really destroying something. But a lot of people, they think that because I got a bunch of them, it's bad, but not necessarily. That's not necessarily true. Oh, Kelly Cornell says, we have 2 blueberry bushes that are about 45 years old. Or do you mean 4 to 5 years old? We planted them and let them do their thing. About 5 years ago, I cut one back hard. It's producing more than ever. Nice. Guys, now is the time before they break dormancy. If you guys want it, if you have some blueberry plants or some fruit trees or fruit bushes or some shrubs that you want to send me a cutting of, I would love that. Send it to the P.O. box. The address is in the description, and I will plant that. Definitely. So if that would be very helpful. Now, last year, one of you guys did a really wonderful package. TC, I believe, was the screen name. I haven't seen the person for a long time, but they sent me it was someone from Alaska. They sent me all kinds of wonderful fruit bushes and shrubs and stuff, but none of them were in dormancy yet. And so none of them took. They all died. Very unfortunate, because it was so wrapped, so nice, and I mean professional. Wrapped it just wrapped it in a moist towel and then put saran wrap around it. Sent them all. It was wonderful. But I tried to revive them. They all had leaves on them still, and so you have to wait till they're in dormancy for it to work. So yes. Jay Dixon says, Garden Like a Viking and Urban Gardener. Hey, Enoch. Glad to see you here. We had a great live last week with Nate and all the Viking supporters. Definitely. We had a great conversation, guys. Remember, go check that out. If you haven't already, go to the Urban Gardeners podcast and check out us last week. Okay, Alex says, I will leave it covered for about 3 weeks to a month, I'm thinking. Man, that's going to be perfect. I've done that exact thing. And that soil, when you take that cover off, when you take that plastic off, hopefully it's black plastic, that soil is just going to be so rich. That stuff's going to be totally broke down. and the soil is going to be nice and warmed. Because remember what I say about mulch, guys. Mulching heavily is wonderful for so many things, and you should be doing it. But if you live in a place where it's cool, I mean, the mulch will shade the soil from the intense heat of the summer. And remember, plants do not like a hot root zone, okay? They can take hot atmospheric pressure, but not the hot root zone. And so if you use that thick layer of mulch, leaves or grass clippings or straw, something like this, then that's going to help to shade out from the heat of the sun in the middle of summer. But it's also going to keep the soil much cooler, much longer. And I'm talking like a month longer. Yes, I have done the experiments over the years, and I know this, that if you have, like right now, my whole garden is covered in like 8 inches of straw, and it's all packed down and stuff. And now if I just left it like that, the soil, by June 1st even, the soil's still going to be cool, like cold almost, definitely into May. So that's not what I want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rake back that mulch, and probably going to put down some black plastic for on that bed, because I don't want to let it expose to the ultraviolet, because there's if I rake it back now, if I just peel it back, there's fungi and all kinds of good stuff in there. And I don't want to cook that stuff, but I want to put the black plastic down, because that's going to help to warm the soil, and that is going to speed things up by weeks, several weeks. And I found this to be true. So what you're doing is going to really help in all ways. All right. Let's see here. Let's see here. Val says, Nate, hey, did you miss a fish fert question and tip from Morena Ba? Oh, I must have. Let's see. Thank you guys so much for reminding me, because, there's a lot of comments. I see it. Wait, no. Did I? Oh, I did. Yes. Thank you. Morena Vongsa, $5. Thank you, my friend. Says, thank you so much for all your knowledge. Shout out from Zone 5. Question on your fish fertilizer. Have to be fresh fish? Got some frozen from fall or too old? It depends on which one you want to make. So if it's become rotten in any way, then you want to make the J-Dom fish fertilizer with it, where you just put it into the bucket with the leaf mold and the water, and that's it. But if it's fresh, if it still smells like you could eat it, then you can make either the hydrolysate or you can make the fish amino acids. So no, it does not matter if it's frozen. That does not matter. So mine was frozen from the early fall. And I just used it to make the fish amino acids for the video. And guys, it's so active that it's it's like liquefying the stuff already. And there's no smell. It's mind-blowing. It just has a slight smell of wine. And this is why one reason I call it the best of all the fish fertilizers, because there's no smell at any point during the process. And we're talking about rotting fish. So it's just amazing. And the end product is so rich and concentrated. This is what we like. So, yes, I hope that answers the question. Kenny Martin, $20. Thank you very much, my friend. Says, aloha. Is arsenic in rice bad for labs? If so, how to remove? And have a pile of horse manure, pile of composted wood chips, and pile of composting leaves. Will they activate, or do I add alfalfa pellets? Can I dilute in water if so? Okay, a couple of questions here. The arsenic in the rice, I don't have any experience with that. I don't really know. I've heard that there's arsenic in the rice and stuff, but I've always just used the rice to make the labs, and it always works. So I don't know exactly about that. Although I just know that the rice works. So then you have a pile of horse manure, composted wood chips, and composting leaves. So I assume you're talking about they're all together, right? So then you've got horse manure, which is a good nitro source, balanced, composted wood chips, and leaves. So there's going to be a ton of carbon in there, which is great for encouraging fungal growth. And if you have a long term, if you say aloha, so you're probably like in Hawaii then maybe. So if it's a place like that, then it's going to break down really fast anyways. But if you're trying to make a hot compost pile out of it, that's what I sense that you're trying to do, meaning you want to activate it, then yes, you're going to need to add a lot more nitrogen to that. You're going to need to add like a load of fresh grass clippings. That would be ideal. Freshly cut. As soon as you cut them, get them grass clippings in there and incorporate it. That's going to really help. Add half of the weight. Half the volume can be in grass clippings. Or yes, you can do the alfalfa pellets, definitely. And you can dilute them. Yeah. Or you can soak them in water first. Or you can just put in there. Kenny Martin says separate. They're separate piles. Well, then, I'm not sure why you would want to keep them separate, really, because they'll decompose together. But, you're going to have a hard time making hot compost out of a pile of just leaves using alfalfa pellets. You're going to have to get a lot of alfalfa pellets, So it will work, though. And you want to add the urine, of course, and any other high nitrose source. Because remember, the engine of decomposition is bacteria when we're doing compost. When we're doing fast compost especially. The engine of decomposition is the bacteria. And the gasoline for that engine is the nitrogen. And so the more nitrogen, the faster it decomposes. Let's see, I gotta get a drink. So guys, look, here is some yellow of Parma onions. All right. This one is still rock hard. Look at this. Super delicious. These are all really pungent, stored in the basement, harvested last July. Now, some of them, just a handful, have started doing this. Now, what I'm going to do is, even though it's still rock hard, I'm going to take this and I'm going to bury it up to here in soil, leaf mold and stuff out in the garden. And I'm going to let this grow up. And this is going to, because it's stored all winter until right now. So I'm going to put it into the garden and, cover it pretty much up to here with like a mulch and stuff so that the bulb stays insulated. And then this is going to grow. And because onions are a biennial, it's going to produce all of its energy is going to go towards a big flower production. And then I'm going to save that flower. And those will be my seeds for next year. That's how you do onions. Those will be the onion seeds for next year of the yellow of Parma. So yes, you can get seeds from onions, and this is what we will use these for. ZZ Trop says, that's what she said. Oh, I wish I knew what you were saying that about. Jeffrey says, second commercial to reset my live stream. Yeah, I know, my man. I know. Val says, hey, Nate, my hydro fish in the bucket is kind of smelly. Should I add more brown sugar? I followed your directions, except only could afford to buy 7 pounds of fish. Let's see here. So fish hydrolysate, that's what you're talking about? Then, because we use molasses in that. Or are you talking about the fish amino acids? If it's the fish amino acids, then yes, you want to make sure that there's if you watch my video, I had a super thick layer of that brown sugar on top. And that is the key. And then you sprinkle that high quality leaf mold on top because the original recipe calls for IMO. But we don't do IMO here. Way too labor intensive. I'm not about it. I made it a handful of times in Northern California, but no need now that we have leaf mold. It's superior in every way, in my opinion. But we want to make sure that it is that it's sifted really good. I know that my leaf mold doesn't have any dormant eggs in it because we do not want maggots or flies or any of that stuff in the FAA. All the other stuff doesn't matter. The JDOM doesn't matter if there is maggots, soldier fly larvae, all that stuff. It's all part of it. But for the FAA, we do not want any maggots in there. If it is in there, don't worry about it. Just let it happen. But that's not what we want. So if you, let's see here. Okay, can I add more brown sugar and another layer of leaf mold? Okay, it might, even if it does smell a little bit, that's not going to be a problem. But just add, so did you use equal parts brown sugar to fish plus some? The original recipe calls for equal parts, but I've always used more, of course, brown sugar, because that's what I found keeps the smell away. And so that big old thing, that big 2 to 3 inches of the brown sugar, that's what you want. So yeah, you could add some more brown sugar. Yes. Okay. Equal brown sugar. Yes. So add about, so if you had 7 pounds, add like another 2 pounds of brown sugar to the top. All right. And don't worry about the leaf mold, or don't worry. Just add another, because you can totally omit. People are asking about using worm castings and all that stuff. You can totally omit that part of it and just use the fish and the brown sugar. So add another 2 pounds right to the top. All right. Big Will Dog says, Nate, when do I put my onion starts outside? So here we're going to end up planting this year. The onions will go outside like the second week of April, give or take. Yeah. I mean, if it's, you want to start hardening them off and stuff, you can do it earlier. You just run the risk. I mean, next week is going to be, lows in the low 20s and stuff. If we get some things in the teens, them onions are not going to like that. They are not going to like that. And you might lose all your progress. So, yeah. Donald says, eating my next to last Tahitian melon today. That's right, guys. Look at this. Still got this Tahitian melon squash. It's still rock solid and delicious. So the Tahitian squash is what you want to be growing. And Baker Creek sold out of them this year. They don't even offer them now. Maybe it's because of the tribe and how much I talk about them. But here's the thing. Well, to the person that sent me the parsnip seeds, yes, don't worry. I'll be getting out the Tahitian squash seeds in time. You've got plenty of time. I don't even plant the Tahitian squash till June 1st. Seriously. So here's what we're going to do, though. We're going to each person that gets an order of the Egyptian walking onions, which I forgot my list, but I'm getting everything. Don't worry. So to each person that orders the Egyptian walking onions, we're also going to put in some Tahitian melon squash seeds from our personal Viking garden. So you will have these genetics. So you will be able to grow these. We had, I think, 2 vines this year, and we had probably 30 of these. Yeah, from the 2 vines. They're incredible. They're just incredible plants. So that's what you want to do. Big West says, yes, succulent is top notch. Yeah, you're talking about the raw type of sugar? Yes, you can definitely use that. Naturally by Darla, can I make my own brown sugar for that? White sugar plus molasses? You can. Just make sure you don't do too much molasses because we need that osmotic pressure, okay? Remember that, guys. We need that osmotic pressure. And that happens when the concentration of a solvent, basically. So osmotic pressure is how the plant roots take up water. Can you imagine this? You ever wonder how they drink up water and things? Is they do this by maintaining a higher concentration of salts in the root tissue and in the plant tissue than in the surrounding soil. And so water is always trying to reach equilibrium. And so it's going to try and dilute that solution. That more concentrated solution, the water is going to try and dilute that. And so that's how it drinks it up through osmotic pressure. It's incredible. But that's also why we get nutrient burn using chemical salted fertilizers, or we can get some from fresh chicken manure, is because when there's a higher concentration of salts, basically, not just sodium, but we call it generally salts, when there's a higher concentration of it in the surrounding soil than the plant can maintain in its root, it will reverse the osmotic pressure and actually draw water and nutrients. And it will do this, you'll notice it on the furthest tips away from the root tips first. And so you'll see it as burnt fried edges on the leaves. Look at this. You'll see it like that. And that's like a nutrient burn, although this is not exactly. But that's what it looks like. And it's all osmotic pressure. And so that's why we want to use the brown sugar. We can't use molasses. Molasses will not have the osmotic pressure because the sugar molecules, it's so concentrated that water is always trying to reach equilibrium. And so it is going to pull the water and the nutrients and the enzymes and the proteins and the amino acids. It's going to leach all that stuff out of the fish to try to equalize the solution. Because that's why we use so much brown sugar in there. It's really incredible what it does. And you will see this more when we're using FPJ here in another couple of weeks. We're going to make some FPJ, which is a fermented plant juice. And we use the osmotic pressure from brown sugar. And so that is going to draw out the hormones. In particular, auxin is a growth regulating hormone located at the very growing tips of fast growing plants. Well, mostly all plants, but fast growing plants. So we're going to use the osmotic pressure to extract that. It's wonderful. So that's what we do. AK Froggy says, Costco sells 25-pound bags of brown sugar for less than half the price available in smaller quantities. Absolutely, that's where I get mine. Okay, Lisa T says, this recipe makes a good light brown sugar. Yes, you can do it. The Wickershire Project Off Grid says, hello, fellow Vikings. Yes, hello, my friend. Val says, wow, Nate had no idea that's how plants drink. Yes. Again, it's that overwhelming intelligence of the plant. It says, no, we're going to maintain a higher concentration of salts so that we can drink up the things that we need. Lita knows shrimp heads for fish fertilizer. Yes, except it's not going to work in the same way. So make a JDOM liquid fertilizer out of the shrimp heads. It will be very high in chitin, which is a structural thing that plants will need. So it's very good. It will take a long time to break down, but use it in the method of the JDOM liquid fertilizer. Fill a bucket 2/3 the way full or half the way full or however much you got. Put a shovel load of leaf mold, high quality leaf mold in there, fill it the rest of the way with the water, and then cover it. And leave it in the area where the crops are. So that will produce the best result. Yeah, I mean, I've done that. Like when we have a big celebratory, king crab legs and all that stuff for someone's birthday or whatever, and we have a huge amount of like crab legs and stuff like that, lobster shells, that's what I do with it. So I've got a couple buckets of real aged liquid fertilizer. And those crab legs are 100%, 95% broken down. I mean, there's nothing left. It's all got broken down over the past, it's like 2 years old now. But you only need a little scoop. I just add 1 cup to a whole barrel of aerated compost tea. And you only do that at the time, right before the time of application. You'll see the recipe. But you don't need that for the aerated compost tea. Yeah. Let's see. Alberto says, please, I have used biochar in my sandy soil to know what? I don't know the question. Mandy Garrett says, question, I like to order some walking onions along with some of your Viking genetic squash seeds, but can't find where to order. So the way to do it, guys, is you just go to the description of this video. You will see the PayPal, Venmo, or CashApp, or the P.O. Box. You can send a Raven the old way and send cash if you want, or a check. And once I receive the payment, then I will put you on the list. So you want to make sure that you give me your address, because I don't know how many of these things we're going to be able to do. We can do at least 30 bundles, I'm sure. Probably more, but so we're about 2/3 the way there already. So we will, we'll see. And then once you're on the list and I have the deposit, then come the time, which will be about the beginning of September, give or take, once they're ready for harvest, we're going to package them all up and send them out at the same time. So a couple of you guys from the UK have sent in the deposit, and I've got it, and we're going to send it to the address. I can't guarantee that it's going to get through, though. I don't know how that's going to work. It's just going to be a real small little envelope. It's not going to be anything, So we'll see. Mark Hasselbach says, greetings from Germany. Ooh, yes, I spent some time in Berlin. Nancy DeWalt says, can I send money for walking onion with CashApp? If so, how can I send you my address without the world getting it? Yeah, I get it. So, yes, you can do the thing through the CashApp, and then you can send me through email. The gardenlikeaviking at Gmail. You can send me through email, although I get a lot of emails, but if I don't respond within a week, you can send it again. Consistency is key here. Like, that's something that I didn't realize. When you put yourself out like this and you have all these social media things and stuff, you get nonstop correspondence, which is wonderful. But it's at the point where, I could just spend all day, responding to people. So, and then not do anything else, but that's not going to work. So I'm having to section it and some things just get overlooked. So, a lot of it has to get kind of swallowed by the noise. So don't take it personal. If it does, just send it again. Send it again. Let's see. Lisa T says, okay, brown sugar ratio. So you can make your own brown sugar apparently, which makes sense, of course. 1 cup white sugar to 1 tablespoon of molasses. And I would always recommend blackstrap molasses. Jeremy Ransom says, Nate, where's Jenny and how is she doing? Jenny's doing wonderful. She, a lot has changed in her life, that's for sure. She sold her house, sold her Airbnb. She's kind of living in the mountains right now in North Carolina. She just got back from Norway. She went to 2 weeks on chasing the Northern Lights. And so if you guys follow her on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube, you can check her out. She's got her own stuff. Hanging with Jenny is what it's called. So you can check her out there. And she was here. She just got back from Norway. She was here for a couple days last week. Welcome to the truth. Isn't that a butternut squash? The Tahitian melon squash is a type of butternut, but I assure you, you're not going to go to the co-op and find a butternut looking like this. You're not going to find them looking like this hardly anywhere. And so, because this has been grown in soil that's rich and nutrient dense, because we use the manures and all kinds of good microbial solutions and the fertilizers. And so, yes, it is of the same family, though, the same close-knit family as butternut, but it is different. It's butternut giganteus. Okay, guys, I wanted to show you this in case you are not here yet, or in case you don't, in case you need this. But when I'm doing the sauna and the ice bath, classes and stuff, when I start the fire for the sauna, here's what I do. I just take a thing of Vaseline, $2.50 from Walmart for this whole thing, and I just take some. And then I put it on a couple of cotton balls like this. You just scrape it onto the cotton ball, like a tablespoon of it, and then you light it. And that thing will sit there and burn for like 15 minutes. Nice and hot. It is the wonderful fire starter. So for like $6, you can get, 50 fire starters from this. And they work really well. And a lot of people are like, oh, why don't you use your dryer lint? And candle wax to start fires. One, because I don't burn candles, because I'm not into the toxins they release in the air, unless they're beeswax candles, which I would definitely burn, but they're very expensive. But if you guys want to send me some beeswax candles, I'll burn them. I'll burn them right here. But if you're using dryer lint, then your sauna is going to smell like hair, burnt hair. And so that's off-putting, because dryer lint smells like burnt hair. And so these fire starters don't smell like burnt hair. All right. So there's just another tip for life. Marina says, are you liking your stainless steel inside compost bin you were sent a while back? I am. Yes, definitely. I like it much better than the one that I had because it doesn't allow the air, the odor, and it doesn't allow the flies in or out or anything like that. So even though it's not fly season yet, but in the summertime, that'll become very relevant. So yes, I'm liking it definitely so far. I'll bring it here next time and show you guys. Let's see here. Ooh, nice. Will C. $40. Okay, got you down for the Egyptian walking onions. Yes, good job, guys. And you can send your address at the same time, like Will just did. Okay, so all right, I'll put you on the list. So Vanessa says, question, my garlic hasn't started coming up at all. Should I be worried? I'm wondering if I planted it too late in the fall. No, it's fine. Mine just started coming up last week. So no, you should be fine. If you planted it and everything is right, you planted it the right side up, then it should be fine. What zone are you in though? Where are you at? Patricia says, is there a new video for Travel Like a Viking? Love your stories. Thank you very much for the encouragement, my friend. But no, it's going to have to take a back seat until next fall. But now I know better what we're going to do on this with all the channels. Because I got 3 channels. Garden Like a Viking, Thrive Like a Viking, and Travel Like a Viking. So those are going to have to take a back seat because it's just full time. The gardening is coming up, all kinds of so much to do. And this is the main channel. So in the fall time, though, after about September, we're just going to stop making videos on this channel altogether, except for the Saturday live. But we're going to stop for like 4 months making videos on this channel and then pick it back up in February. So during that 4 months, I'll be making every week a Travel Like a Viking video. Yes. Meyer Lemon says, Nate, trying once again, LOL. What is the best soil composition for inside greenhouse beds? Well, there's many factors that come into play there. Are they permanent? Are you growing permanently in the greenhouse? Or are you, Vanessa says, Zone 5, Montana. Yeah, don't worry about it then. It's not surprising at all if it hasn't come up yet. So, I gotta answer that. Okay, best soil composition for inside beds. Now, that depends on many things. What are you growing? And is it permanent? Are they in pots? There's many factors. You could send some pictures to the Discord chat and then tag me in them, or to your Instagram and tag me in them. If you guys want me to see stuff in Discord or Instagram, tag me in them. So you can put pictures there so I could see. And what are you trying to grow? There's many factors. And then are you trying to use a soil or soilless growing medium, which all of the bag stuff that you get is not actually soil. It's soilless growing medium. And except for the bags of topsoil. That's the only stuff in the whole store. Those little heavy bags, that's the only actual soil in the whole place. Soil is sand, silt, and clay with microbes. But soilless growing medium is all the other stuff, peat moss and all that stuff. So it's long term, that's not the good stuff to be growing in. Shorter term, yes, but the way that it breaks down and becomes sort of acidic, and it just, so there's many factors. That's a deep question, you know? Jeremy Ransom says, hey, Nate, what about a garden travel crossover where you make a video visiting someone's garden? Good idea. And that brings me up to the topic. Guys, you remember several weeks ago, I was talking about Growfully with Jenna and how I was I was being a little bit dramatic. I'll admit, I was being a little dramatic for effect, maybe. And I was like a little bit hurt that she didn't respond to my email, you know? It took her 2 months. But she did finally respond. And she said, yeah, a collaboration would be great. And so we're going to do it. We haven't hammered out the details yet, but yes, we are going to. So I will go to Growfully with Jenna, her channel, which her channel is like the exact same size as mine, basically. So it'll work out really good. I'm thinking that I'm going to go there and show her and her audience how to make a one of the liquid fertilizers, and then she will do something, and I whatever she wants. She hasn't told me the idea yet, and then I will release that video on this channel. So maybe it's just a garden tour, or maybe it's whatever her particular skill set can be an example of. That's what we're going to do. And yes, Itamar, I agree. Jenna is, yeah, she's got very good, she makes good videos. And it's the Midwestern people. She's right over in Ohio, so the Midwesterners, they just get down to business. They know what they're doing. M.I. Gardener as well. So we're in the heartland of all of that. So yeah, look out for that. That will be coming probably in later June. But if you guys check out Jenna's channel, tell her that you're part of the Viking Tribe. All right. Tell her Garden Like a Viking sent me, or I'm Viking Tribe, something like that. Identify yourself as part of the tribe. Okay. Do that with any channel that I talk about or that we recommend, or any podcast that we go to, any of that. For example, the Urban Gardener says, Growfully with Jenna is our guest today. How convenient, guys. I knew that. But yes, how convenient. So just like last week, guys, how we went right from here to the Urban Gardener podcast, you can go from here to his podcast. And Growfully with Jenna will be the guest this week. Tell them the Viking Tribe sent you. Okay? We got to make it known, my friends. So, Big Will Dog, that's a good idea. Nate, I'd be down if you wanted to shoot video here when things are actually growing. That might be a good idea in terms of, I could do like a video, yeah. So I'll think of how we could do that, but I could do one of like several. Next time I go down to Jerry's, I could do one of like, gardens on the go or something like that. And, we'll do an overview of yours, maybe a little bit of Jerry's, maybe like another one, and condense it all together, just so other people can see how other people are doing it. In particular, that very clever way of doing that container, the tote. So let's see here. AK Froggy says, what do you think about using spent barley from breweries? How about apple pulp for making cider? Just wanted your take on it. I would compost all of that. Absolutely. Yeah, I would compost all of that. But the thing with like huge amounts of one ingredient, you can end up with real lopsided stuff. So make it a portion of your overall thing. So mix the barley with straw, mix the barley with horse manure, mix the barley with grass clippings or leaves. The best thing would be deciduous leaves. So yes. Busy Girl says, release them on both channels. Yes, definitely we will at the same time. That's part of the thing. We do that the same day. Oh, that's funny, Big West. Trimigant. Man, oh my goodness. I used to be in charge of running the Trimigant camp. Yeah. So Meyer Lemon says, what is Jenna's channel? It's just Growfully with Jenna. That's her name. So make sure you identify yourself. So let's see, amended it, and okay. Charles Coker, could you add ashes to the peat moss to raise the pH? Sort of, but not really. You don't need to do that until several years into it, when the peat moss really starts to break down. And it doesn't really break down. I mean, it does. It just does this weird thing where it just like loses its structure and its integrity, and it kind of just becomes like it's not nearly as pleasant. It's so if it's a long-term bed, you want to fill it with actual soil. You really do. And compost. You can, lots of compost, but soil's the way to go. Did I miss a 20? Okay, I did. Scorpio, 1969. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate the consistent contributions. Now, is there a question here? Or is it, I'm seeing north of Louisville, Kentucky, just bought piles. I'm not sure what we're seeing there. But thank you very much for the contribution. And let's see here. Nice. Okay. Nancy, got it. Thank you. Got the $40 for the walking onions, and I got the email with the address. So thank you very much. Good job. Now you are on the list. VA Green says, is that the same as trim jail? Kind of. Yeah. It's, man. Yeah. When we were first doing it, it was all trimmigrants. You know, it was all the people like backpackers and stuff going there, making that good money and stuff. But as things got real tight and the market started to collapse towards the end of it all, it's, the Asian groups of Asian, workers started coming into it, and their work it was just light years beyond what all the little hippies and stuff were doing. I mean, the Asians would come right at the right time, and they would all come in like one van, and they're boom, 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 boom. I mean, they were fast, and they worked tirelessly. I mean, they just worked nonstop. Whereas the hippies were always wanting to smoke, and they were wanting to have fun and go do a bunch of other stuff, go to the river for one day. We're just trying to get the stuff done, guys. We're trying to get it in the bag and out the door. So by the end, we were just using the Asian crews. So much better work ethic. Anyways, okay. Okay, 2 questions. Big Will Dog says, did you find any info on the butter neck? I actually forgot to look that up. But I will this time. Okay. So let's see. But I have to remind myself right now if I don't do it. Butterneck squash. Okay. We're going to check it out. Yep. And then there was another one here. Okay. Morena says, Viking Tribe. I feel this may be a dumb question, but similar to the barley question. If I have some unused old leaves and flowers of a hot plant, is that okay to put in the compost? Absolutely. You can compost that whole plant. Yes. Okay. Let's see. Now, the couple of things, guys, you want to remember when you're growing the peppers this year. Watch my video on how to create a delicious pepper spice. Guys, when people have the cooking that has this stuff in it, they're just like, whoa, this is amazing. They have not tasted anything so smoky flavor. It's just so good, and it smells like the campfire in the middle of summer, but you only want to grind up as much as you're going to use in about a month. The rest of the time, you want to leave it whole like this. The flavor is way better retained when you leave it whole. These are the Ivarsky from last year. Smoked with the oak wood for about 6 hours, then dehydrated, and super delicious. Gilstrap Getz says, I'd love to see other gardens. If you're in South Carolina, you can come here too. I follow a lot of your practices. All right. Sounds good. I'll remember that if I'm in the area. Luke Blackford says, love your channel, Nate. Starting my first garden in New Orleans area, Zone 9. Ooh. I spent a summer or month or so in New Orleans in July, and it was unbelievably, the heat was something I never experienced. I lived in Thailand, and not even there. Not even in the middle of the desert in Morocco, or not even in the Thar Desert in India, in Rajasthan, did I experience the kind of thing that I experienced in New Orleans. That kind of just, it makes me almost panic how oppressive and muggy and everything. Okay, I don't mean to be bad-mouthing it. I'm sure that you adapt, but that is not the climate for this Viking. That's for sure. I need the cold. So I give props to you guys. Ooh, yeah, Urban Gardener says, Ivarsky peppers are awesome. Yes, delicious. Man, Big West, could you see this? He says, I can't wait to make tomato powder, Nate. That stuff is wide open for uses and ideas. I never saw that before you made it. That's right. I had it sitting right here, and I was like, should I mention it? But I was like, nah. So yeah, the tomato paste, but just watch the video, guys, even though it's so simple. I mean, you basically just dehydrate the tomatoes and then grind them up. Here they are. But this, when a recipe calls for, like I make, you guys know what hamburger helper is? Like it's junk food, but there's a version of it that's super good for you that I make from scratch with buffalo and, the stuff and the raw cream and all that good stuff. And it calls for tomato paste. And I just use this. I use this all the time in recipes that call for tomato paste or tomato whatever. And one spoonful is just like so rich and tangy and zangy, especially if you use the purple bumblebee tomatoes. And when you cut them, you want to put them cut side up so that the juices will all concentrate there. You don't want them dripping all over the place. All right? You don't want them dripping all over the place. Kenny Martin, $5. Another tip. Thank you, my friend. Says, I was the guy with horse, chips, and leaves. Yes, that is you, definitely. And you're going to have to really make a lot of stuff to try and activate those piles. But as you guys will see in my upcoming worm farm video, that is what the professional worm guy feeds to his worms. Horse manure, wood chips, and leaves. A combination of them, you'll see. And that's all that he uses. And he gets these worm castings tested at the laboratory. And so he knows that the fungal composition is much higher when he feeds them that, as opposed to when they used to feed them the food scraps from different restaurants. Yes. B. Hendricks says, rich, tangy, and zangy. I know, somebody caught that. I thought, that's not really a word, but it is now. Itamar Toribio says, Nate, is your family from Scandinavia? Yes. My great-grandfather, his parents, they came from Norway. So yes, great-great-grandfather, they were born and raised in Norway, and then they came over. And so, yes. And then on my mother's side, they are more like Northern Germanic tribes type people. Yes, last name Rimschizl. And so I get it on both sides. So, I don't know. Big West says, do we remove tomato seeds before grinding it up or before drying, or just leave them? Just leave them. They add the flavor. Nope. Because you know how much work that would be to remove those tomato seeds? There's no need for that. You just do it and grind them up, and it's going to be really good. Val says, same here on my mother's side, from Norway. Oh, yeah, the motherland. Maticus Bartholomew says, Nate, where did you get purple bumblebee tomato seeds? Baker Creek. I know, they should be paying me, but that's where I get them. I just love their genetics. Yes. And, Doug says, same color as the beard. It is almost exactly, isn't it? So, okay, guys. If you have any burning questions, get them out. So we are, part-time Greek vegan says, what is a Greek vegan? That's almost like an oxymoron. I lived in Greece, and that food is rich and animal-based and delicious. So what is an alternative to perlite? Rice hulls, apparently, but they are too expensive. What are you trying to use perlite for? Do you need perlite? Because biochar will work really good as a type of perlite. Because the reason that we have perlite is just to aerate and to keep the stuff from compacting. And so we need something that will do the same. So biochar will work the best. Yeah. Let's see. Lisa of Light says, so if not horned helmets, what is authentic Viking headwear? I know. I still need to do the logo and all that kind of stuff and some merch. It's going to have to be horns. It's just going to have to be, because that's what the cultural idea of Vikings is, even though it's not historically accurate. Historically accurate because that wouldn't serve any function. Maybe for ceremonies they had that, but in battle that would not serve. That would get hung up. You don't want that kind of thing. So their helmets would be, they would be able to deflect stuff, and they would have the thing over the nose like that. And typically it would come down to like here, maybe some chainmail and stuff. But yeah. But the logo's probably going to have the horned Viking on it, but it'll be good. So, Chris Black says, what are you starting this week? This week, I have started all the peppers. So all the peppers I'm starting. I started celery. I started the cold hardy. I'm going to start the cold hardy stuff here in another couple of days. You know, the stuff that I can plant out. I'll probably plant this stuff out the middle of April, depending on the weather and stuff. But that's like the collard greens, the kale, the cabbages, stuff like that. So I will start all of that here in the next few weeks. We're 8 weeks away from the last frost date. So it's pretty much go time to start anything. Yeah. Although it's not totally necessary. Remember, it's better to err on the side of being a bit too late than to being too early. There's no need, especially if you're in zone like 5, 6, 7, 8, you know, where you got a good long growing zone, especially here in northern Indiana. We've got a nice growing zone because it doesn't get too blazing hot. Parts in the south can even though they don't have winters, they've got a part that is so blazing hot that nothing wants to grow. So we don't really experience that. We can just grow stuff for a long time, which is great. So, yes. If you guys haven't already, hit the thumbs up on the video. Yes. Watch the latest video that we've had and share it with everybody. And we will see you guys here next week. It's been 95 minutes already, so it is time. Guys, let us know in the comments if you're watching this after the fact. Let us know what you are starting now and what you are trying for this season. Let us know any advice that you have for people in your same zone or whatever, people that need to learn. Go to the comments and read what other people's are doing, okay? Let's see here. Heather Fox, okay, one more question, says, on the podcast, you hit a little on corn. I want to grow some this year. Can you give me some guidance on that? Maybe your favorite sweet corn and popcorn. I don't really do popcorn, although the glass gem is what I use for flint corn. I use the glass gem for the dried flint corn because of how sturdy it is and how wonderful it grows. But if you want sweet corn, I recommend the Fisher's Early. Fisher's Earliest sweet corn will grow. It doesn't get super tall, and it's a heavy producer, and it's going to be nice and classic sweet corn flavor. That's what I grew back here a couple years ago. If you're growing corn, only grow one variety or grow all sweet corns or all flint corns. But you can't save seed at that time. If you grow all one type of corn, all Fisher's Earliest sweet corn, then you can save seed. But corn will cross-pollinate in the same season. So don't be trying to grow a bunch of different flint corn, popcorn, sweet corn all together. It won't work like you think it will. So, okay. Ooh, Kip Tap, $10. One last tip. Thank you, my friend. So just getting in. Oh, a little bit late. My garlic is pushing 5 leaves and about 8 to 10 inches tall. Should I cover? The elephant garlic has browned heavily and curled on the leaves. Other garlic shows light signs. Okay, so guys, when you see the garlic start to do that, you need to fertilize. Garlic is super heavy feeder. So even if you plant, like I've done several years, you plant the garlic and cover it with like 4 inches of pure horse manure, it will still need additional nutrients in the springtime. So feed it. Foliar feed it with the fish fertilizer or water with the fish fertilizer. It also likes the ash fertilizer. Yes, all of these kind of things it likes and it needs. So when you're seeing those browning leaves, for the most part, that's because of nutrient deficiency. Now, if it got really cold, then that could be the frost. But I would have to see a picture of it. Post a picture to your Instagram and tag me in it, or the Discord chat, and then I'll be able to tell if it's a nutrient deficiency or frost. But for the most part, it's not frost because garlic is unbelievably frost hardy. So I don't know what zone you're in, but you're probably not going to have to worry about that, okay? Someone says, please address Kenny Martin question. What is Kenny Martin question? Yeah, it's a little bit difficult, guys. Oh, yeah, okay, $5. Thank you, Kenny. Man, look at this, like 10 tips from Kenny today. Thank you very much, my friend. Says, raw milk left in the fridge for months. Now, solid on top, clear on bottom. Good for labs? Yes. Ooh. Yes, it is. You can use that for labs. Raw milk. Now, months, yeah, because you didn't separate it. Now, if you had separated it, the liquid from the solid, and then stored it, months is too long. But if it has been in there with the solid on it, it's been slowly feeding from all of that. So yes, absolutely, you will be fine. You can use that, strain it off, use it as the labs. All right. So, okay, guys, I got to rest this voice for a while. So we will see you next time, my friends. And be sure to check out the links in the description, all the stuff that I'm utilizing, including the aquarium heaters for the JDOM solutions and stuff. I put all of that kind of stuff in the Amazon storefront. So just go to the storefront and shop around a little bit. Anything that you need that I use, garden related, is in there. And it gives me a small kickback as well. So yeah, make sure you like the video and all of that stuff. So we will see you guys next time, my friends.